The man unbuttoned his pants and was about to pee in the blue sea. Unexpectedly, the ship behind him took the opportunity to hit him on the back. Fortunately, the man reacted quickly and grabbed Hulin with both hands in time, so he didn't fall into the deep ocean. But at this time, the yacht was moving at high speed. The strong sea breeze blew him left and right. If you are not careful, you will fall into the sea and die instantly. At the critical moment, the man quickly adjusted his breathing and let himself stay calm. Then he used the strength of eating milk to keep moving his body. Finally, he managed to step on the deck before he let go. He has support under his feet. His dizzy heart finally fell to the ground and recovered his strength. The man cooperated with his limbs and successfully got into Hulin. However, the man couldn't get into the back row. The strong urine again came to him. The man, who was still in shock, dared not urinate anywhere. So he came to the bathroom in the cabin to wash his hands. Unexpectedly, halfway through, the bathroom door behind him suddenly closed. The man turned around subconsciously. He thought it was just a gust of wind, so he didn't care. However, after he finished, he found that the door to the bathroom was tightly locked. He couldn't open it no matter how hard he tried. The man was a little confused. He sat down and checked carefully. He thought he was going in the wrong direction. So he turned around and pulled back. He tried to pull back with his front leg. He still couldn't open the bathroom door. At this time, the man finally realized something was wrong. He stood up in a hurry and searched along the door. He tried to break the door open with his hands. However, the door was too narrow. His hands couldn't reach the mirror at all. The man was a little impatient. In order to get out of the small bathroom as soon as possible, he hurriedly opened the dressing mirror to find a tool that could break the door. He saw a pair of scissors in it. The man had an idea. He quickly opened it. He tried to use the tip of the knife to remove the screw on the door handle. But the strange thing is that the size of the scissors was just right for the screw hole. But no matter how hard he tried, the screw didn't loosen at all. Seeing that this trick didn't work, the man opened the ventilation window at the top of his head. He tried to get out of the bathroom through the narrow window, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't get out of the bathroom. When he was about to go crazy, the unmanned yacht began to accelerate automatically. In order to prevent the yacht from leaving its familiar runway, he hurriedly reached out his hand to the window and pulled a rope randomly. After making sure that one end of the rope would not loosen, he hurriedly tied a knot on the other end and threw the rope into the sea. He hoped that the rope could flow along the sea and wrap around the propeller at the bottom of the ship. In this way, he could slow down the speed of the yacht. However, the speed of the propeller was too fast, which caused the rope to tighten. The man didn't have time to react. In an instant, the rope was tightly wrapped around his neck and he couldn't breathe. When he realized that he was going to die of suffocation, the man hurriedly turned to the deck and searched. Soon he touched a hook and wanted to use it to pull the rope up. The man who escaped from death was exhausted. He fell asleep unconsciously. When he woke up again, he found that this strange yacht was slowly sinking. He drowned the floor in no time. At this time, the man was trapped in the bathroom of the yacht for a whole day and a night. He didn't want to escape anymore. He was destined to be drowned alive by the seawater that came in. However, at this time, the roar outside the window attracted his attention. A giant ship was smoking. It was coming closer to the man. The hopeless hope was in front of him. The man hurriedly reached out his hand out of the window, waving his clothes to the people on the ship for help. But the noise of the ship was too loud to completely cover the man's cry. Seeing that the ship did not slow down at all, the man was exhausted. But when he thought of himself, there was still 200 million inheritance to inherit. He immediately calmed down. Then he sank and swallowed the seawater from his legs out of the window. He tried to slow down the speed of the toilet being submerged, but the speed of the water rising was too fast. It was useless to drain the water with a cup. However, the ruthless fate seemed to refuse to let go of this poor man. The unmanned yacht suddenly rushed straight in the opposite direction to the far-off storm as if it had a consciousness. Every time the strong wind came, the yacht was shaking and shaking. The heavy rain kept swimming into the shipwreck. The more water in the toilet, the more powerless the man was in the face of the strong wind and heavy rain. He had to rely on the unsubmerged position to endure the heavy rain. After one night, the storm finally calmed down. But the man who spent the whole night in the cold water had long lost consciousness. He could only see his mouth moving hard. He stretched out his stiff hands and then moved his feet. Finally, his body recovered a little. But the man was too happy. He had been trapped for a day and a night. If he didn't go out, he would die here sooner or later. So the man raised his legs and tried to kick the door as hard as he could, but his body was too weak. After kicking for a long time, he couldn't kick the door open. Instead, he exhausted his last bit of strength and his body was wet. He slid directly into the muddy water. Unexpectedly, when the man was desperate, he suddenly found some loose signs on the door lock. He stretched out his hands and tried to knock on the door. He didn't expect to knock the door open all of a sudden. It was too sudden. The man didn't dare to believe it until he walked on the deck. This made him relax. But soon the man realized that the yacht was very strange. If he didn't get away quickly, he would be in more danger. So he hurriedly found the airbag on the deck. Then he went back to the shipwreck and picked up the door plate that had been knocked open as the shipwreck. Finally, he tied the airbag and the door plate together with a rope. It became a simple drift method. Then the man took out the rope, tied the drift method and the yacht together, and slid the shipwreck in the opposite direction. He planned to get away from the yacht as far as possible. However, while he was sliding, he suddenly stopped. The luxurious yacht he picked up was strange everywhere. He almost trapped himself, but if he could fix it in a flash, he would definitely be able to sell it at a good price. Maybe he could pay off the mortgage that had fallen, get out of the sea as soon as possible. Thinking of this, the man became full of energy and went back to the yacht to start the rescue work. He first moved the generator from the cockpit. Then he took out the spare battery and connected it to the water pump. Finally, he used pliers to attach the two ends of the battery to make a simple water pump to drain all the seawater in the shipwreck. After draining the seawater, the man picked up the sail and fixed the gap on the wall with self-made glue. After everything was done, he came to the cockpit again and picked up the intercom to ask for help from the outside world, but he didn't respond for a long time. He had no choice but to try to clean the engine and get ready to go home. The next morning, the man woke up from a severe dizziness. He opened his eyes in a daze and saw that the scenery outside the window was moving rapidly. He suddenly felt something was wrong, so he hurried to get up and planned to go out to have a look. But he was surprised to find that the door of the room could not be opened again. But the man was not panicked this time. He just showed a helpless expression. Because of the experience of being trapped in the bathroom, he knew that the door could not be opened by brute force. He had to think of another way. So the man came to the bathroom for a while to search. He found a secret passage that could climb to the deck on the wall. He was so happy that he hurried to get into the passage. However, before the man was happy, he blocked the thick window in the passage. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't open it. What's worse, the secret door behind him suddenly closed, and the man was locked in a narrow passage. He couldn't get out of both sides. As the oxygen in the passage gradually diluted, the man felt an unprecedented sense of suffocation. Not long after, the man woke up from a coma. He was surprised to find that the floating yacht outside seemed to have stopped, and the locked secret door was automatically open. The man slowly climbed out of the passage in a circle and then carefully walked out of the bathroom. He slowly reached out his right hand in front of the door. As the door was easily turned, the door that the fan couldn't open could now be opened. The man was shocked by this series of strange situations. In order to figure out the truth, the man returned to the deck nervously and wanted to see what was going on. But the scene in front of him shocked him directly. This strange yacht unexpectedly brought him back to his hometown. When the man got off the boat to check, he found that there was no one here. What's more ridiculous is that even his once gorgeous home has become a broken abandoned house. It looks very desolate. And when the man turned his head, he was surprised to find that the strange yacht that brought him back had disappeared for some reason.